Yeah, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, welcome to tonight's broadcast. Okay, tonight's broadcast is going to center on playing it safe in business. Meaning, can we play it safe in business? Do we play it safe in business? Is playing it safe the best way to do business? What does it tell us when we play it safe? Is it our best option? Is it our best option to play safe in business? Meaning, there are multiple ways to do business. Some business require capital investment. Some business require minimum capital investment. Some business requires high capital investment. Some business require mid capital investment. So investment in business depend on what kind of business it is, basically. What kind of business operation it is. So certain business operation require certain business investments, certain capitals. But before I continue tonight, I want to say hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ekene Igwenago. Middle name Alex. Most of you do know me by the name Alex. Okay. So, I'm glad to come tonight. I've been thinking all day, all through the day, what am I going to say in terms of business? I have so much business ideas in my head. I have so many of it in my head. So many business things that I want to discuss. But then it comes down to, okay, what is it that I actually want to say based on where I stopped last week? Because wherever I stopped last week, it was huge, it was big. So, but tonight, I want to touch off from where I stopped last week, meaning that the avenue that I'm trying to get into will dive a little bit deeper into what was discussed. And not last week, I mean 2 days ago. Yeah, on Sunday, sometimes we can call it last week, sometimes we can call it this week. But this past Sunday, I discussed so many variety of things where we can invest in our business. I discussed financing, I discussed accounting, I discussed legal. But today, I want to focus on is playing it safe the best way to do business? If we are going to play it safe in doing business, we should also gauge what kind of business is it that we're discussing about. Not every business out there requires high investment capital. Not every business out there requires low investment capital. Some business require very minimum investment capital. So number one, location matters. Number two, end goal matters. Number three, what is the blueprint to the business? Number four, what is the return on your investment that you anticipate? Number five, how many people are required to do this business? Is it going to be a small scale business? Is it going to be a medium scale business? Is it going to be a large scale business? But the end goal of this business require how much capital that is going to be put into the business initially. In the sense that if you want to start a small business like Papa and Mom business by the corner of the street, those business require family savings. Family savings, mostly what you need to start a business like that. Savings from your job, maybe your previous job whereby you had maybe a 5-year employment, you were able to save $50,000, $100,000 over the period of 5 to 10 years, and then you started your own business by such a low amount, by I would say low amount of money. Not even mid, because mid amount of money, you're talking about $500,000 to a million. Those are mid-low amount of money, or mid-low capital. But if we're talking about low capital, which is not low mid capital, but low capital, you're talking about anything from 50,000 to 100,000 to 150,000. Those require capital which is derived from family, which is husband and wife might start that kind of business. That kind of business might be started by the husband alone. That kind of business might start by somebody borrowing money from someone to start it. So those businesses require low capital. So when you start in a low capital, what's your end goal? You just want to be able to come to the shop, open the shop, open your location, open the establishment, spend time there from 9 in the morning to 7 p.m. or to 8 p.m. because most small businesses like that, they don't open early. They can open anywhere between 9 and 12 o'clock, and they close anywhere between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. So depend on location, depend on traffic flow, like traffic in that area, business traffic in that area, or the nature of the business. But if we're talking about mid business, now you're talking about business that require anywhere from $250,000 in investment to as high as about $600,000 in investment. Such businesses are different from mom and pop business. These are high traffic business. These businesses are usually found in the areas of mid-sized grocery stores, electronics departments. That's electronic stores that has to do with maybe about 5,000 square foot showroom, anywhere from 2,500 square foot to about 5,000 square foot showroom. And then stuff like you're talking about a restaurant that can accommodate about 100 capacities. These are businesses that you can start with anywhere between $250,000 to $600,000. So businesses like that tend to require not just a capital that you can get from family members. It goes beyond. Number one, credit history is required. You might have a good credit history to be able to borrow such a large amount of money from bank. And then you have repayment history. Good repayment history. Your credit score might be anywhere between 720 and 850. 850 in that regard. But if you don't want to go through the route of borrowing money from banks, you can also get what we call short-term investors. Short-term investors are people that, like your friends, they are very familiar with you. They can trust you with their money. That's number one. They can trust you with their money. Number two, they can actually be able to do business with you. Number three, they know that you're a businessman, that you've done businesses before, and you haven't failed. But you're pretty a smart guy. They know that you're a man of your words, which means you have vision for business. With your vision in business, they know they can entrust you with their cash, because some of them might borrow cash. They might borrow cash through their old 401k. They might borrow cash through banks. They might borrow cash through friends. They might actually bring out their own savings. People that usually invest in businesses like this are people that have the capital. Most of them do have the capital in cash, in savings. You'll be surprised. Some people have $1 million in their savings. Some people have $500,000 in their savings. But they're not going to give you $1 million out of their savings. No, they won't do that. But rather what they will do is that they're going to give you, like, let's say, anywhere between 20 and 35% of their savings. They will risk that. And when they risk that, they believe that business is a risk. They know that as long as you're not doing a Ponzi scheme, they will entrust you with their cash. If anything goes wrong, they will take the loss because they're not investing 100% of their money. They understand that. Those people they have either been in business, they are high-paid executive, or maybe they are mid-grade, and they are, I would say, not high-paid executive, I'm sorry. You're talking about people that are mid-grade employees in corporations. They have those cash. They have those money. They've saved it over time. They have their houses are paid for. Sometimes they will even use their own house as a collateral for such business because they trust you. So those are businesses that you get at $250,000 to $600,000. But then there is something called mid to moderate level business. I didn't bring moderate level when I was actually at the initial beginning of, that's at the initial of this broadcast, I didn't use moderate, but moderate is very necessary. Moderate is whereby you're looking at capital between 1 million to $5 million. Usually, people that will bring us such amount of money are people that know that this person is doing a startup business. Startup in the sense of engineering, the next IT, the next that's artificial intelligence, the next thing to break through, the next level of invention. So these guys will bring out money. Usually it's not one person. You're talking about 3 to 5 people that will lend you 5 million. Most people, the people that will invest in such an enterprise are usually guys that are high executives in businesses. They know that they're taking risk. Yes, they're taking risk, but they also know that you are good at what you're about to do. Because number one, you're going to show them presentation of what you're going to do. Number two, you have to demonstrate to them that this thing will actually work. Number three, something that will give them massive amount of return in their investment. And some of this return in investment, you're talking about this is going to be like a 5-year stuff, 10, not 10 years. It cannot be up to 10 years, but it has to be anywhere between 3 years and 5 years. Sometimes these people will do a long-term investment with you. They're not usually cut out for short-term investment because each of them might give you about $500,000 to $1 million, but hey, they're going to rip off $20 to $30 million in their investment over the next 10 years. But they expect that in 3 to 5 years that there should be already breakthrough in whatever you're doing in that startup. So if you do, startups can include transportation startup, because you're talking about app-based transportation. You're talking about hotels. You're talking about real estate. You're talking about commercial things that have to do with commercial. So these are where you can get investment of moderate. But these investments can be from moderate to high investment. That's high scale investment, because of you're talking about something close to 5 million. Now, but for high scale investment, other than moderate investment, you're talking about millions of dollars in investment. But moderate investment is usually what ball into high level investment. I will tell you why. Most startups will start with low amount of money. You're talking about anywhere from 1 million to 5 million in initial investment. And this includes, like I said, it includes technology. It can include clothing line, it can include logistics, it can include transportation, it can include hotels, it can include the next invention. But that initial investment takes a lot of money. But whoever is investing in such a company also knows that you're going to come back and ask for more money. Here, they expect that. These are not kids. These are not rookies in investment. They know you're going to come back because they know once you get to about 8, that 1 to 5 million initial investment amount that you requested from them, that they invested in you, they know that should cover anywhere between 50 to 80% of the initial plan, of the initial execution of the investment, of whatever project you have going on, which means that you're going to come back and you're not going to ask for 5 million. They expect you to ask for 20 million, 50 million, 100 million. Now you're talking about the real takeoff of this investment. When you're going to ask for this kind of huge amount of money, you're not talking about project building anymore. Now you're talking about actually advertisement, rollout. First, rollout. You're talking about rollout. And rollout, when you got to do rollout, you're talking about hiring of employees, location, advertisement. Advertisement in such a company is not word of mouth. Word of mouth is on low scale investment, mid investment. Those are where advertisement, word of mouth goes into. But when you're talking about moderate to high level investment, no. You got to put words out there, and those words are usually nationwide, global. So they require high level of investment. But to get into such investment, that's why I said, are we playing it safe? I recently had a conversation with a cousin of mine. I think it was on the previous broadcast that I mentioned it. He said to me that he was opening a healthcare business and he was also working at the same time. But in that healthcare business, what he did actually was he had a job and he wanted to maintain his job while he was financing this other business to get it to start. After 2 to 3 years, he had already had his gig on it. It didn't really take off that much, but what he did, he was still in his business. And the question becomes, do we play it safe? And I was going to talk to him, but he kept talking. So I said, you know what, I'm going to hold on to what I was about to tell him. And what I was about to tell him was this: based on my personal experience in business and experience of other people before me and people that are going to do business after me, one thing that I know that is prevalent in business investment is this, or when you're a startup, you can't be a startup in a business by playing it safe. Playing it safe is not something that will get you to take off your business, because number one, you put in a full time into somebody else's business, whereas you're trying to build your own business. Anytime you get into a small business or you're trying to bring a small business, this is what happened. During the course of this business and the infancy of this business, you have to dedicate anywhere between 8 hours to as much as 12 hours. There are 24 hours in a day. You got to get your 6 to 8 hours sleep. I do recommend that for any small business. But guess what? As somebody that is starting a business for the first time, or you see yourself working on the next big thing, you see yourself with this big business idea that you got to go and convince people to borrow you money or maybe to invest in your business. But you have to get sleep. That's number one. You get 6 to 8 hours of your sleep. Remember, there are 24 hours, right? So now you have anywhere between 16 hours to 18 hours left. Of that 18 hours, you got to put 12 hours. Let me just use 18 hours as an example. You got to put 12 hours into that business, minimum. When you put 12 hours into this business minimum, you have 6 hours left. Of that 6 hours, 3 hours of it is used for miscellaneous, which means you have somewhere to go, traffic, you're stuck on the highway, you're stuck in red light, there is an accident. Those are life inevitability. But the thing is this: you have about 1 to 3 hours. In that 1 to 3 hours, you're talking about lunch, spending time with your family, having phone calls with your wife or girlfriend, whoever it is, having business conversation, outside business conversation with somebody other than somebody or personality that has to do with that business. But in that 12 hours, that you're looking at is very critical. You cannot fund with 12 hours, in the sense that you cannot use 12 hours that you're supposed to use in building a business to work for somebody else. It doesn't happen. There is no way your business is going to take off. You can have that business for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. It falls. It's going to fail. It falls apart. Because number one, the required dedication that you need in order to jumpstart this business is not there. The business is going to be on life support. You might put money because you're playing every in business is for employees working in business that has if you have to safety, but financial times you can't bring something like time safety. In business, you have to dedicate your time. Dedicate, meaning that you have to be there from 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., up until 8 to 10 p.m. at night. The fact that you're being dedicated into that business means that you are serious. Investors are going to see you are serious. Number one, you're getting results. The first 6 months is going to be rocky. That is why I tell people, when you want to get into business, make sure you have the capital means to be there. But in having your capital means, you also have to have other means, which means if you are married or you have a significant other, somebody that can foot the bill for the next 6 months to 1 year for you, that's good. They can do that if you guys are in agreement. Because when you are a married person or somebody in a relationship, you're going to lose it. Lose the other person if you are going to get into business without them being in cooperation with you. Cooperation is required for you to be in that business because number one, somebody has to take that load off of you, which means paying the rent, maybe paying the car notes, paying some of the bills in the house, and you have to have your savings because you got to dip into your savings in order to offset certain bills, because when somebody other than you pays your bill for more than 3 months, the person is going to rebel. But in order to not allow this to happen, you got to have at least 6 times your rent ready. Which means if this is going to take you 6 months to 1 year, you have to have 6 months to 8 months or 6 months to 9 months of your rent standby. That's a set aside. Then you have to have another $5,000 to $10,000 of miscellaneous, which means there are other bills that have to be paid in the house if this individual falls short, so that you don't get distracted. And buying gas, you got to buy gas to be able to go from one place to another while you're working on this business. But once the business begins to yield, everybody's happy. But what I'm trying to say in essence is this. This is one of the reasons, or this example that I just gave right now is the reason why you cannot play it safe in business. When you do business, you can't play it safe. You have to invest your time, you have to invest your energy, your presence must be felt in that business, and now you have to start building your clientele. You have to reach out to your clientele. You have to know if you're doing retail, you have to start getting supplies, talking to vendors, talking to distributors, trying to find out what it takes for you to be a partner with them in order to not spend too much money buying retail resale product instead of wholesale resale product. You see what I'm saying? So that is why I said business is not a child's play. We cannot play business safe. So another thing about playing business safe is this. The amount of time it takes you to be able to start a business when you play it safe is very, very detrimental. It's detrimental because at the beginning of every investment, there is always a passion that comes out of you. You have all this passion, all this zeal, all this urge to get it done, to move and get it done. You make your mistakes. You make bad decisions. Hopefully those bad decisions will not tank the business. And if it doesn't tank the business, that will be to your greatest advantage. But then 6 months is gone. You might not be getting the results you need. But remember that you are not time invested. You are not physically invested. There are other things that you're supposed to do if you had left your other job to do. But because you're not time invested, physical invested, those things are lagging. And when they lag, what happens is this: 6 months is gone. You've not gotten any lead yet. 7 months is gone. 9 months is gone. But you are busy doing other things. So, and as the time goes, being a human being, you start losing interest in something you prepared all this time for, you've put this money for. You start losing interest because we as human beings, we tend to be lackadaisical. Sometimes we tend to be complacent. So complacency starts kicking in. No, you've been complacent. Not as complacency starts kicking in. You've been complacent. So you're comfortable where you are, but you don't want to lose what you have to go pursue something that is bigger. So now 1 year is gone. At the second year, things start thinking down. You can't come out because the business that you've started is not yielding you any results. And right away in your thinking, you start thinking, oh, shoot, I may have not made the right decision. But because you're not cut out to do business, if you remember the previous video, I said, are we cut out to do business in the previous video? Because you're not cut out to do business, guess what happens? Your business starts thinking. That is why I said, instead of you doing it all by yourself, look for somebody that has done it before. Look for someone that knows what it takes to do this business. Get that person to ride with you. You see what I'm saying? Let's assume right now you want to do a hotel business, for example, or you want to do real estate. But let me use hotel before I come into real estate. If you want to do a hotel business, you've never worked in a hotel facility before or establishment before. How do you do it? You got to look for people that you know that have done that business before. But it's very bad. I would say do not invest in something that you don't have friends, you don't know who to go to. Don't do it. Your money will vanish. But in a sense whereby you've known somebody, or you knew somebody in the past, or you know somebody currently that is in that business, what you got to do is to reach out to that person and say, hi, when you were at this company, how was it done? Because one thing that kills business, that lavish business capital investment, is learning on the job. One thing you don't want to do, because you're talking about money. Time and money is of the essence. Anytime you kill time, you kill money. Don't learn on the job. Hire somebody that knows that job, or get somebody that knows that job, pay that person to teach you. You can take a 6 weeks class with this individual. You might meet at a restaurant, sit down with him, give him $100 an hour, pay him $200 for that section, because people value money. When you give somebody money to teach you what you don't know, the person will teach you to the smallest atom. They will teach you to the smallest atom, because now you're paying them for their time. So what happened in this scenario, in this case, is that individual will then teach you the depth, the intricate of doing this business, the risk and the reward. This individual will teach you everything in that 6 months time. That is why I said, do not do business. Don't get into a business that you don't know, or you don't know somebody that knows that business. Because if you don't want this person to be part of that business, at least gain that knowledge. But I also do advise that rather you paying somebody to just gain knowledge from them and then go take risk like that, it's best for you to then learn from this person, but also bring them in. Because when they come in, they will bring people they know. And the end result will be flourishing. It's going to be abundance. of success. So you want to get people that know this business. So when you start something like hotel business, you want them to, you want to get somebody that knows it so that they can impact you with knowledge. And with that knowledge, your hotel business can take off. Okay, in real estate, when you want to get into real estate, you don't just go buy a land. You don't just go buy a land without knowing how to price lands. You don't just go start getting permits without not knowing the right permit to get. You need somebody in that field to come and tell you, because I got to be honest with you, if there is any place where there is a lot of disingenuous human beings, is real estate. Those guys are hyenas. They will eat you alive. I've never seen that many people that cannot be honest with somebody than realtors or real estate investors, because they don't want a player in that field. But if you know somebody that can be honest with you, they will give you every single aspect that you need to dive into in order to get what you need to start that kind of business. I'm talking about real estate investment. But real estate investment is not something you can go alone. It's not a business you can do by yourself. It's not a business you should do by yourself, because these businesses are high-level investment business. Depending on if you want to get maybe a piece of land and sell, yes, you can do that. Those are one-man business. But if you're talking about high level of business, no, you need to get people to do it with you. You need individuals to do it with you. Because what happens is that when you do real estate, especially when you buy a virgin land, a land that doesn't have any sewage or any kind of underground piping through it, banks will not lend you money to do that. Those are called out-of-pocket expense in real estate development. You have to do those by yourself. Banks will give you money to build a house. Major banks will not give you money to buy the land, except if they already have investment history with you. Or if you're a large-scale investor, yes, they will give you. But if you're a small-scale investor, they will not. If you're a first-time investor, they will not. You have to look for a different bank to finance that. But out-of-pocket expense, no. Small banks will not do that either. Sewage and the rest of them, that you have to do. Securing pipes, running pipes through the land, you have to do that by yourself. That's where other investors come in. So you can source your own money, they can source their own money, you can source money from outside and put it into it and get that done. That's how those businesses are done. Okay. So I know that some of you will watch this video later on, and I want to thank the ones that came on board to watch it tonight. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. For the rest of you that will watch it later, please leave a comment, say something. If you're watching, whenever you come on board on this video, say something. How about me? If there is any point that you have to shoot to me, shoot a point to me. I will read it as I talk, and that will help to give more knowledge to the broadcast. And later on, I would like you guys to, when you watch this broadcast, please leave a comment. Share this broadcast with your friends. Tell them to subscribe. You might not be the only one gaining knowledge, but somebody else might gain knowledge out of this broadcast. And when they do gain that knowledge, it might be a life-changing thing for them. And they will thank you for providing this video. Like I said, this is not a short-term thing. That is why I want to stop at the 30-something minute mark today, so that tomorrow I can come back, because I really want to discuss more tomorrow. Tomorrow will be another day where I will expand in this as well. We need to talk more. We need to talk about business. We need to talk about investment. But tomorrow I will go deeper than today. I want to thank you guys. Please share this video, subscribe to it, like it, and give it a thumb up or down. Whichever one is comfortable with you, either way is good. Thank you so much, guys, and I'm looking forward to speaking with you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. Bye-bye.